Hello, my name's Duncan and welcome to Vlogmas Day 6. What I've decided to do today is this is technically my pick and mix video, but I thought I'd count it as my Vlogmas video because I'm struggling with time to fit these videos in. All I can say is, in the name of Holy Zarkon Singing Fish, how does Steve Donahue do it? How does he produce 3 videos a day? Because I'm struggling to do 1 a day. Maybe it's time of year, maybe it's what's going on, but yeah, I am struggling a bit, but we'll get there. I'll get a better system going. So yes, so this is my pick and mix, which is a roundup of last month and what I'm going to be doing for the next month, especially in the Read What You Own challenge. And well, let's just jump in and tell you what's going on. So last month I started the month and I finished Bernard Cornwell's excellent Fools and Mortals. But as I finished this book before the 6th, it did not count in the Read What You Own challenge. So as good as this book is, it did not count. And you must all know the Read What You Own challenges. So my personal rules are for the Read What You Own is they are all physical books. I don't count Kindle books, but I don't really buy Kindle books, not many anyway. And I don't count audio books. They're just going to be physical books I own. Rereads I do not count, unless they're incredibly old rereads that I really don't remember. But that's generally what's going to be going on. So I'm not the fastest of readers, so I'm going for 25 books, which I reckon is going to take me 6 months. And I saw like Greg from Another Bibliophile reads, and he's already nearly hit my number. So yeah, that's how he does it. But yeah, it is what it is, and I'm still quite enjoying it. The other thing is it's I made a TBR. I don't normally do TBRs because I sort of vehemently against them. And I've actually quite enjoyed it, having this set thing of stuff to read. So actually, because normally I sort of scatter all over the place. Doesn't mean you can't go and do some random stuff, but the knowing what you've got coming up is really quite fun in a weird way. So I've set another TBR for December. I'm not going to go as mad as somebody like Al, who basically plans his reading throughout the next 20 years or something. I like a bit more randomness in my reading, but at the moment I'm embracing the TBR. I've learned to love it. Well, put up with it to a point. So yeah, so what else I read for last month is the first of my Read What You Own ones was Robert Heinlein's Double Star, which I mentioned in another pick and mix, which I really enjoyed, which is basically about this guy who's a sort of mentalist impersonator who's asked to impersonate this politician on Mars, and it's following his story, and was a really fun read. I like Heinlein, and that was a fun read. And his earlier, in some ways I prefer a lot of his earlier stuff. I sort of prefer stuff right at the beginning of his career and some of the stuff right at the back end of it. Just a bit weird like that. And then the other book I read that counts for Read What You Own, which means I would only have had to Read What You Own for November, was Chris Bonington's Everest the Hard Way, which was a really good book about climbing the southwest face of Everest in 1975. There's a BBC documentary I found on YouTube that I'm going to watch about it, but there's people dying and they talk about climbers, and they mention this climbers died in that. It's just, yeah, it is quite incredible. It's a really good book. Really enjoyed it. I recommend it if you can find a copy. It's out of print as far as I know, but I think there's an Indian, I did a look on Chris Bonington's website, and it seems to be that some Indian publisher has picked it up and is actually reprinting it there. But if not, try and find a used copy. It's well worth a read if you're into those sort of things. And then we come back to this month. Sorry if I say a bit quick, I'm running out of time today, so I just wanted to get this video sorted. So don't worry though, I won't rush, everything won't be rushed. So this is a hangover I've had for about the past 6 months. I've been reading this book, which was my sci-fi collection of shorts, which I'm really enjoying, but I really want to get this polished off before the end of the year. So I'm going to push myself to try and get through one of the short stories every day, just to finish the book. And I said it's probably about 20 short stories, 1 or 2 of them, depending on the length of them. But I would really like to finish this by the end of the year, because then it just sort of clears the plate, along with Yesterday's Tomorrow, The History of Classic Science Fiction in 100 Books, which is another book that I've been reading for all year, just on and off. So I just want to polish those two off, so I've got a clean slate for next year. So then, the stuff I've got set up for in my TBR, I can't believe I'm saying this, I have a TBR for the month. For the next month is, I had set for last month, Brian Aldiss' Hot House. Never got around to it, so that's going to be the first book that I try. Oh, I've got one that from last month. Doesn't count on Read What You Own, but I had a reread of Murder in La Motte, which is part of the Riff War books from Raymond Feist, and I'm rereading those at the moment. Well, I've been reading them for a couple of years, and every now and then I dip into one, so that doesn't count. So that was the third book. I didn't really, normally I get bookish a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, but it's been very busy, so I've struggled to find reading time. But yes, now on to my TBR for December, which I know we're partway through December anyway. So the next book I'm starting, which I will be starting this evening actually, will be Brian Aldiss' Hot House, which I'm excited to read, and it's one of these classics that for some reason has passed me by. And then the next book I was going to go for is the Ron Goulart, The Tin Angel, because it's got a spaniel on the front cover with a cane dancing in front of a skull. And it's quite a short book as well. I've been wanting to read this for a while. It's the paper stock this is on is terrible because it's actually gone blue at points, but this has actually got some drawings in it. So it's quite a short book. It won't take me long to read, but I find the quality of door books, specifically from this era, pretty poor. In my personal opinion, from this era, the UK publications are always far better paper stock, but that's just my personal opinion. You might disagree with me. And the next book I've got scheduled for December is, I think of December as Disaster Month. The reason I think of it as Disaster Month is, as a child, I always remember on the television over Christmas, there was always some disaster movie going on. So I thought I'd finally get round and read Arthur Hailey's Airport. Because I really enjoyed, I read Hotel last year, and I really enjoyed this, and I was meant to get to this back in about September, and I never did, so I think that'll be a really enjoyable read. So yeah, I can always remember watching things like Airport and even Airplanes over Christmas, so for me that's a Christmassy one. And then another bit of science fiction, good bit of science fiction, Ben Bova's The Star-Crossed, which is another one I've been meaning to get through for a long time, which I can from my Read What You Own. And this is a fictional story of a television program, but it's it was 21st, I'll read it at the back. The Star-Crossed, it was the perfect 21st century program, the perfect cast of carriers, he the virile filler sky hero, she the exquisite otherworldly maid. On camera they would brave the infinite dangers of the cosmos, while off screen the colossal TV ratings war exploded. Could a three-dimensional space opera command the tale of its creators and the future of media? The answer was written in The Star-Crossed. This was written on the back of, I think it's called The Starlost or something. It's a Canadian science fiction TV series from the early 70s. There's about 3 or 4 of them, and they're all about 2 hours long. Harlan Ellison partly wrote it, and he hated what happened to it, and they did stuff to it. And Ben Bova was one of the consultants on it as well, and he quit. And this is almost a parody of some of what went on then. I actually quite like The Starlost. I've seen it a couple of times. I quite like some of the ideas in it, but it is a bit clunky. So this is almost based on that. So I'm really quite interested to get into this. And Ben Bova's a really solid writer. And then the final one I should hopefully be doing for December. If I get through all these in December, I will be amazed, because I don't know how I'm going to have time to read all this with all normal stuff that's going on. It's the one I picked up from the library, which actually probably should be one of the first ones. Just renewed it actually. That read by Fred. If you didn't see my video about it, I blame Read by Fred because he recommended a book by this author Simon Montgomery. And I went, it was about octopuses or octopi, and it sounded really interesting. And I went to look for it in the library because I'm not allowed to buy books. So I'm Read What You Own. They didn't have it, but they had this other book about pink dolphins in the Amazon by the same author, Simon Montgomery. So that's one I need to finish quite soon. So yeah, that's about it really for what I will be reading over the next month. I've got to said trying to fit stuff in round with the Vlogmas stuff is it's a bit tighter than I thought it was going to be this year. So I'm going to try and do a few tags I think over the next week as well. A few more readings. Hopefully my reading out aloud will get a little better if you watched any of those. But there is a playlist which I linked to at the end, which is all the Vlogmas stuff. And also linked below is a link to a Google document which shows you what I'm reading, what I have been reading with the ISBNs if they are available, just in case you're interested and want to try and pick up the books and the copies I've got. But anyway, as I said, all praise to Steve Donoghue for putting out about 3 videos a day in the middle of the year. And I will speak to you all very soon, and thanks for watching.